can't afford 4 more years of failed leadership here at home and abroad. We can't afford. We can't afford 4 more years of millions of Americans who are out of work and who aren't making enough in wages to support a family. We can't afford 4 more years of a housing crisis where we continually watch the value of our home devalued in front of our eyes, and we literally see it become impossible for people to purchase a home. And we can't afford 4 more years of a foreign policy with a president who leads from behind and who doesn't stand up for our friends like Israel, and who too often fails to stand against our enemies. We cannot afford 4 more years of Barack Obama. As a constitutional conservative, I believe in the Founding Fathers' vision of a limited government that trusts in and perceives the unlimited potential of you, the American people. I don't believe that the solutions to our problems are Washington-centric. I believe that they are with every American-centric. And I believe that the most basic, the most powerful unit of all is the family, and the family must be preserved and protected. We've begun another campaign season, and it almost seems like the last one only recently ended. But through the rancor of a campaign, let us always remember there's always so much more that unites us as a nation than divides us. Because our problems don't have an identity of party. They're problems that were created by both parties. I think that Americans agree. Our country is in peril today, and we have to act with urgency in order to save it. Because Americans aren't interested in affiliation, they're interested in solutions and leadership that will tell them the truth. And the truth is, all of us, we, the American people, are the solution, not our government. Because this issue is about big issues. It's not about petty ones. And when all is said and done, we can't be about big government as usual, because then America will lose, quite frankly. And in Washington, I'm bringing a voice to the halls of Congress that has been missing for a very long time. It is your voice. It's the voice of the people that I love, and the people that I learned so much from as a young girl growing up here in Waterloo. It's the voice of reasonable, fair-minded people who love this country, who are patriotic, and who see the United States as the indispensable nation of this world. And my voice is one that is part of a much larger movement to take back our country. And I want to take that voice to the White House. It's the voice of constitutional conservatives who want government to do its job and not our job, who want our government to live within its means, not our means, and certainly not our children's means. I am here today in Waterloo, Iowa to announce we can win in 2012, and we will win! It may have started small, but our voice is growing louder, our voice is growing stronger, and it's made up of Americans from all walks of life like a three-legged stool. It's made up of peace through strength conservatives, and I am one of those. It is made up of fiscal conservatives, and I am one of those. It is made up of social conservatives, and I am one of those. And it's made up of the Tea Party movement, and I am one of those. The liberals, and to be clear, I am not one of those, want you to believe that the Tea Party movement is just the right-wing fringe of the Republican Party. But I'm here to tell you nothing could be further from the truth. It's made up of disaffected Democrats. It's made up of independents. It's made up of people who have never been political a day in their life. It's made up of libertarians and Republicans. We are people who simply want to get America back on the right track again. We're practical people. We know our country can work. We just want it to work again. It's a very powerful coalition that the left fears, and they should. Because make no mistake about it, Barack Obama will be a one-term president. In February 2009, President Obama was very confident that his economic policies would turn the country around within a year. He said, and I quote, "A year from now, I think people are going to see that we're starting to make some progress. If I don't have this done in 3 years, then there's going to be a one-term proposition." Well, Mr. President, your policies haven't worked. Spending our way out of the recession hasn't worked. And so, Mr. President, we take you at your word. Waterloo holds a very special place for me, but it also holds a very special place for our nation, because Waterloo still and does send its finest young men and women off to fight for America and to protect our freedoms that allow us to gather here together. I honor my father, who served in the United States Air Force. I honor my stepfather, who served in the United States Army. I honor my stepbrother, who served in retired full United States Navy. We will never forget the sacrifices of our brave men and women in our military. It is part of our past that we remember. To secure the future of the promise of America. And it's those values that make our country unique and make us the most powerful force for good on this planet. I believe we are the indispensable nation, and that is the spirit that separates us from those who would give their own life for others, from those who would sacrifice others, like terrorists who use little children's lives as human shields. But I think perhaps the valor of our American fighting heroes was never captured better than in the sacrifice made by the Sullivan brothers from right here in Waterloo. My father told my 3 brothers and I, when we were little children, this story of the Sullivan family, who was like so many other families in the Great Depression. They were just fortunate to get by. And most of the family worked here in Waterloo at the meatpacking plant. When a close friend of the Sullivan family died at Pearl Harbor, the Sullivan 5 brothers enlisted in the U.S. Navy, but under the condition that they would be allowed to serve together. One of the brothers wrote, "We will make a team together that can't be beat." Born and raised here in Waterloo, the 5 Sullivan brothers had always stuck together. However, one fateful morning, after a long night of intense battle, a Japanese torpedo struck the USS Juno. That was the ship upon which they served. It killed most of the crew, and it launched the rest into the water. The oldest of the Sullivans was named George. George tirelessly searched the waters for his brothers, but they weren't to be found. George survived the attack, but later George perished at sea. Of the 697 brave men of the Juno, only 10 survived that attack. The rest gave their lives for their country. And in spite of the intense pain of losing 5 sons all at once, the parents of the Sullivans became an inspiration to the rest of the nation, as in the midst of their grief, they spoke to millions of Americans on behalf of the war effort. And so to honor the Sullivans, 2 ships were named for them. And the motto of the last ship, "We stick together." Theirs was a Theirs was a demonstration of the Holy Scripture which says, "Greater love hath no man than this, but that he lay down his life for his friend." That's the kind of love we Americans have for this great country. We Americans stick together. We triumph together. In the words of Daniel Webster, who said, "One cause, one country, one heart." That's the kind of commitment it will take us to face these great challenges that are before us. But I believe that the great people of this country are longing for a president who will listen to them and who will lead from the front and not from behind. I am Michele Bachmann. I am running for the President of the United States. Together we can do this. Together we can rein in the corruption and the waste that has become Washington, and instead we can leave behind a better future for the next generation of Americans. Together we can make a better America if we stick together. Together we can bring the promise of the future. Together we can. Together we will. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.